Imagine a world where the endless golden waves of the Sahara Desert, stretching across more than 9 million square kilometers of northern Africa, are replaced, inch by inch, with gleaming arrays of solar panels, shimmering under the relentless sun. The largest hot desert on our planet, the Sahara sees more sun-drenched days than almost any other place on Earth. Yet, for most of recorded human history, it has remained inhospitable, a symbol of nature's extremes, its vastness both daunting and awe-inspiring. But what if, instead of sand, the Sahara became the pulsing heart of human innovation, transformed into a formidable engine of clean, renewable energy? What would that mean for our world, our environment, our economies, and the very way we think about our relationship with the planet? Let us begin with the sheer scale of the Sahara Desert itself. Its boundaries sweep across 11 countries, from the Atlantic coast of Mauritania and Western Sahara all the way to the Red Sea shores of Egypt and Sudan. The Sahara is almost as large as China, or the United States. Its sun is fierce, bearing down nearly every day of the year, with precious little cloud to block its rays. In some parts of the desert, sunshine hours total more than 4,000 per year, meaning almost every day seems endless and brutally bright. It is an extreme environment where life clings only to the hardiest of species and where human settlements are few and far between. Why, then, would such a place be seen as a perfect candidate for the world's largest solar farm? The answer starts with sunlight itself. Solar panels, or photovoltaic (PV) cells, rely on sunlight to generate electricity. While all regions of the Earth receive some sunlight, the Sahara is remarkable for its sheer abundance. Here, the sun's intensity, its solar irradiance, can reach more than twice the levels found in Northern Europe or North America. If there's anywhere solar panels can thrive, it's here. Burning brighter and turning more of that relentless solar energy into usable power. Now, picture covering the entire desert with solar panels. This is, of course, a mind-boggling idea, one that has sparked global curiosity and appeared in countless scientific musings, engineering proposals, and even art projects. But before we weigh the consequences, it's crucial to break down what this vision would entail. Start with the numbers. The Sahara covers about 9 million square kilometers. By comparison, the world's total installed solar PV capacity in 2023 could cover only a fraction of that, maybe 10,000 square kilometers at most. Covering even a sizable portion of the Sahara would be an undertaking larger than any construction project in human history. For the sake of this exercise, let's imagine that technology, logistics, and international cooperation have leapt forward. Picture an expanse stretching horizon to horizon, a connected patchwork of solar panels, perhaps on mounting systems that tilt and track the sun for maximum efficiency. Maintenance pathways snake between the rows. Drones buzz overhead, cleaning dust from the panels and monitoring for technical issues. Energy pulses out from the desert not in oil barrels or tankers, but as electrons carried along high-voltage direct current (HVDC) lines and new power grids that crisscross continents and seas. How much electricity would this generate? To answer that, let's use some rough calculations. Current commercial solar panels typically have an efficiency of around 15 to 22%. Future advances might push this toward 25 or 30%. Sunlight shining down on the Sahara brings, on average, about 2,000 kilowatt-hours per square meter per year. Multiplying this by the entire desert's area gives an astronomical amount of energy. If you captured just 1/8 of the Sahara, say about 1.1 million square kilometers, you could generate more than 100 times the annual electricity consumption of the entire world. In other words, even a modest, partial covering of the Sahara with solar panels could easily meet, and vastly exceed, all human demands for electricity. The world would not only be electrified, it would be transformed, powered almost entirely by the sun. But what would it really mean to generate and distribute so much clean energy? The benefits would be staggering. First, the most obvious, a revolution in the fight against climate change. Nearly 3/4 of global greenhouse gas emissions come from burning fossil fuels, for electricity, heating, transportation, and manufacturing. Replacing oil, coal, and gas with carbon-free solar power on a massive scale could slash emissions, sharply slowing or even reversing the buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The air would become cleaner, urban smog and respiratory diseases could decline, and the worst specters of global warming might be averted. Beyond the environmental impact, the economic consequences would be enormous. Access to cheap, abundant electricity could transform entire societies. The countries of the Sahara, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Morocco, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, Tunisia, and Western Sahara, are not uniformly wealthy. For many, energy poverty is a reality. Domestic access to affordable and reliable power could supercharge economies, bring light to rural towns, and raise standards of living across the region. Moreover, exporting green electricity to Europe, sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East could bring in vast revenues, shifting global economies away from oil-rich powers towards sun-rich ones. The networks needed to distribute this electricity would themselves spark innovation and cooperation. Vast, continent-spanning power grids would need to be built, utilizing advances in HVDC lines that can carry electricity hundreds or thousands of kilometers with minimal loss. Undersea cables could link Africa to Europe, enabling the transmission of solar power across the Mediterranean. Economies would become more interconnected. Energy, long a source of conflict, could instead become a force binding nations together in mutual dependence and cooperation. Yet, to realize such a vision would require an unprecedented level of international coordination. The Sahara, after all, is split among many countries, some stable, others racked by conflict. Political will, trust, and global financing would need to align on a scale never before seen. Security would be a constant concern, as would ensuring that profits and benefits are equitably shared. Infrastructure would need to be protected from sabotage, terrorism, or simple human neglect. Still, the incentive to cooperate would be undeniable. The rewards for success would be world-changing. Would it be environmentally harmless to turn the Sahara into a colossal solar field? The answer, perhaps surprisingly, is no. The sheer scale of transformation would have ecosystem-wide, even planetary effects, some predictable, others less so. First, consider the immediate environmental impact on the desert itself. While the Sahara may appear lifeless, it is home to hardy flora and fauna. Date palms that cling to rare oases, resilient desert foxes, migratory birds, and countless unique species evolved to thrive in extreme conditions. A massive solar installation would undeniably disrupt these habitats, potentially driving species to extinction or pushing them toward the shrinking refuges of what wilderness remained. Moreover, the construction itself would present a monumental challenge. Transporting panels, equipment, labor, and building out infrastructure would leave its own environmental footprint. Dust, one of the Sahara's defining features, is another challenge. Fine sand not only covers everything relentlessly, but also tends to damage machinery and reduce the efficiency of solar panels. Regular cleaning, likely with water or advanced robotics, would be essential but potentially unsustainable. Bringing water into the Sahara to clean solar panels would divert a precious resource from already water-scarce regions. The environmental burden could be high, unless new cleaning technologies, perhaps sonic or electrostatic cleaning, are perfected. The local climate could change, too. When sunlight strikes sand, most of it is reflected back into the atmosphere. Solar panels, by contrast, absorb sunlight and convert a portion into electricity, turning much of the rest into heat. This might increase the temperature near the ground, altering atmospheric circulation patterns. Some researchers have speculated that such a change could, paradoxically, make the Sahara greener. Warmer surfaces might draw in more moist air from the coasts, potentially increasing rainfall and encouraging the spread of vegetation. If so, the net effect could be the regreening of the desert, bringing a new ecosystem where once there was only sand. But the outcome remains uncertain. Global climate patterns are complex, and massive interventions can have unpredictable consequences. The Sahara is famous, too, for being a global dust generator. Each year, hundreds of millions of tons of fine dust are blown from its surface across the Atlantic, fertilizing the soils of the Amazon rainforest, among other places. Covering the Sahara with solar panels could dramatically reduce these dust emissions, perhaps starving distant ecosystems of nutrients. The impact would ripple through food chains, forests, and even oceanic plankton blooms, all of which rely on these far-flung dust deliveries. One might also ponder the social and cultural effects. The Sahara holds ancient significance, cradle to some of humanity's oldest civilizations. The Tuareg, Bedouin, and countless other peoples have survived in the desert for centuries, trading across its vastness, living in harmony with its rhythms. Large-scale solar farms could drive out traditional ways of life, erasing ancient cultures in the name of progress. There would be a need, not just an opportunity, but a responsibility, to ensure that local communities benefit from the transition rather than being marginalized by it. Globally, the shift to Sahara-powered solar electricity would upend geostrategy. Today, much of the world is dependent on fossil fuels, particularly oil and gas, for energy security. Major powers invest billions in securing energy supplies, and the geopolitics of oil shapes everything from military alliances to economic policy. If electricity flowed from the Sahara instead, the world's power centers would shift, perhaps trading one kind of dependency for another. Africa's standing in global affairs could grow dramatically, altering the balance of power between continents. Such an unprecedented project would spur innovation in battery storage, grid technology, and energy efficiency. The challenge of storing solar power, available only by day, would drive the development of vast battery farms, or perhaps innovations like hydrogen production, pumping water uphill to drive hydroelectric turbines, or building supergrids that match energy supply with global demand. New industries would spring up, creating jobs, expertise, and unexpected opportunities for millions. Let us not forget about human ambition itself. The transformation of the Sahara from an inhospitable expanse into a beacon of sustainability would serve as a testament to humanity's ability to reshape its destiny. It would be both an exercise in humility, recognizing the planet's limits, and a bold declaration of agency, showing that we can rise to our greatest challenges. But the magnitude of such a vision makes it worth reflecting on the practicalities. Could such a project ever be built? Would people ever agree? What technological, financial, and political obstacles would we face? To start, building enough solar panels to cover even a fraction of the Sahara would require staggering quantities of materials. Silicon for the panels, rare metals, glass, steel for supports, copper for wiring, and more. Manufacturing these at scale could stretch global supply chains. There would be a need for vast solar factories, a new workforce of engineers, technicians, and laborers, and an ironclad commitment from the world's governments and industries. Technologies for recycling old panels, managing waste, and developing more flexible, durable, and efficient designs would become essential. Even assuming the panels could be manufactured, transporting scores of millions, perhaps billions, of panels to the Saharan interior would be a logistical challenge unparalleled in history. New roads, railways, and ports would need to be built. Towns and cities would expand to house workers. Supply lines would thread across national borders, sometimes through politically unstable regions. And, of course, the constant threat of political instability, terrorism, or conflict would never be far away. There is the question, too, of storing and distributing all this electricity. The sun does not shine at night. During rare cloudy days, generation would dip. Electricity does not travel easily over long distances without loss, and the world's power grids are not, at present, built to handle energy flows of this magnitude. Investors and governments would need to build a new system, a supergrid capable of matching supply to demand across continents, smoothing out fluctuations and balancing energy between regions. Yet, while daunting, none of this is beyond the reach of human ingenuity. The cost of solar panels has plummeted over the past 20 years, dropping by more than 90%. HVDC power lines have already been laid to cross China and Europe, and battery storage is advancing rapidly. With enough political will, international funding, and regulatory support, a massive expansion of the world's grids and storage capacity could become reality. Consider, too, what this project would symbolize: a collective response to the climate crisis, powered by sunlight and human cooperation. It would bring not just electricity, but hope, a demonstration that the world can meet its greatest challenges with boldness and unity. There are perhaps alternatives, ways to achieve something close to this vision without requiring us to cover the entirety of one of Earth's iconic landscapes. Solar farms can be built elsewhere, on rooftops, over car parks, beside highways, on brownfields and abandoned lots, floating on reservoirs, and integrated into cities. Wind, hydropower, geothermal, tidal, and wave energy all have a role to play. Yet, the Sahara remains the ultimate symbol of untapped solar abundance, a reminder of the extraordinary power shining down on our planet each and every day, waiting to be harnessed. In the end, the question of covering the Sahara with solar panels is not merely a technological or environmental one. It is a window into the future we choose to create. Do we continue to rely on fossil fuels, with all the dangers and limitations they impose? Or do we dare to build something new, harnessing the power that the universe delivers to our doorstep every morning, and reshaping humanity's destiny with light, innovation, and resolve? The transformation of the Sahara would not be without costs. Habitats would be disturbed, cultures transformed, unforeseen side effects would emerge. Yet, the potential benefits, a habitable climate, clean air, abundant energy, new economic opportunities, are nearly limitless. Picture, then, the dawn after such a transformation has been set in motion. A world where the vast desert no longer divides nations, but unites them, where power does not depend on underground reservoirs of oil, but on sunlight bouncing off the earth, where energy poverty is a relic of the past, and the deserts of the world become shining testaments to human ambition, where the story of our species is not one of limits, decline, or exhaustion, but of ingenuity, restoration, and hope for generations yet to come. This is the promise that lies within the simple idea of covering the Sahara with solar panels. It is a challenge to think boldly, to refuse to accept that the way things have always been is the way they must remain. For beneath the harsh sun and endless sand, under the unyielding expanse of the world's greatest desert, there rests not just the memory of ancient civilizations, but the seed of a better tomorrow waiting, like all seeds, for the light.